If I had a problem, I'd be starving. I'd be hawking this watch. I do not have a problem. I enjoy gambling.
We are back, baby! Am I live?
Welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm pumped. You guys are doing a hell of a job here at the Round Robin Pod.
Week 1 in the books. We're back. We're back from the bloodbath.
Week 1 recap.
But the number one overall pick for the worst thing in the NFL is Deshaun Watson. It's just, I don't even think it's really that close. I guess it's kind of close, but we'll see who you take. Who would be the next like obvious choice for the next pick of the worst draft?
Dude, I have like a clear number one. Worst of the weekend.
Yeah.
I have been so bought in on the Raiders, and the one thing that I was unsure about was the quarterback and the offense. But the thing that I was the most sure about was Antonio Pierce. I was so sure that Antonio Pierce knew what he was doing and that he was going to be a great head coach.
Yeah.
He butchered that football game. That was one of the worst coaching performances I've ever seen in a football game.
Yeah.
And not only was it bad, but it was uninspiring. It was the saddest thing I've ever seen for what has led up to this season, where he's preached like hard-nosed Raider football. Yeah. First of all, in the first half, it was like a 3rd and 7, and they throw a little screen pass to Trey Tucker, and he gets the first down easily. It was like an easy first down, and they spot him poorly, and they spot him like 4th and inches. And instead of challenging and just immediately getting that first down, and he would get a 3rd challenge, it was clear. They showed the replay a bunch of times. Easily had the first down, got a bad spot. They rush up to the line and run a play. It was like a miscommunication because they hurried the play. And Minshew ends up handing off the ball with his wrong hand because Zamir White goes the wrong way, and they get stuffed and turn the ball over and give the Chargers a free 3 points because that turns into a field goal. That play was like horrible, horrendous. And then you get into the fourth quarter and you have 2 4th and 1s. 4th and 1 on like in the red zone. It's like 4th and inches. And to me, like everything he's been preaching, like what is more hard-nosed, what is more Raider football than going out there and getting 1 yard, just putting the ball in your running back's hands, QB sneaking it, whatever you got to do to just, that is Raider football. And he decides to kick a field goal. That one wasn't the worst because it was a two-score game. So a field goal at least made it a 6-point game.
I mean, dude, I didn't like it. I didn't like it either. I'm going to let you keep going, but I didn't like it either. Like, if you're going for it on your own 35 in the first 12 minutes of the game, you have to just commit to going for it for the rest of the game. You're fucking with the whole flow of everything. Like, it's so bizarre to me that these guys they kook themselves out. Like, it's just so weird. Why are you rushing up to the line to go for it on 4th and 1 on your own 40 in the first quarter of a 0-0 game, and then not going for it in the 4th quarter on the road? Like, you're gonna lose. Like, what are you doing?
The worst one, the worst play and the worst display of like, I would be embarrassed, like as a Raider fan, like this. What is
I think it's going to be the worst punt. Like, it's one of the worst play calls for the whole season. Like, there might not be a single worse coaching decision for the rest of the year than
agree.
Punting down 6 on that 4th and short. Like, it's really
down
insane.
6, 4th and 1 on the 43-yard line of the Chargers.
The Chargers 43.
The Chargers 43. And like, he's going to say, oh, I trust my punter and my defense to pin him down and then hold him, and then we get the ball back. And to me, that's even more of a reason to go for it. You have a defense that's going
Yeah.
to stop them. Even if you don't get it, they'll stop them and you'll get the ball back again. But most of all, you've preached Raider football, hard-nosed football. We're going to run the ball, and you get a 4th-and-1 opportunity where if you get that 4th-and-1, you have a real good chance of winning that game. Like you are in Charger territory. The other thing about it that was very apparent during the game was finally in the 4th quarter, the Chargers defensive line was tired. The Raiders were able to run the ball and they were moving the ball way better than they were in the first half of the game.
Yeah.
And it was such a clear and obvious 4th-and-1. You have to go for it. And when they showed him on the sideline, he mouthed, "We can't go for this. Like, we can't go for it here." And it was like, dude, you can't punt here. You have to go for it. And so to me, the worst display of the entire weekend was Antonio Pierce's coaching decisions. And it just showed that he didn't understand analytics. He hasn't studied it at all. And you have to know that you can't punt there. You have to go for it. And just everything accumulated all to that moment where, like, from months and months ago, where he's been preaching Raider football, hard nose, run the ball, and then you punt in the most obvious 4th-and-go
Yeah,
situation.
so I noticed him that they panned to him as the punt team was running on, and he mouthed something, and what it looked to me was he was asking them upstairs, like, "Well, what are we gonna do? Go for it?" And it to me, the whole game, it looked like they're just like not on the same page, like they don't know what they're doing. That's what it looked like. It looked like they're second guessing themselves and they don't know what they're doing, which is such a huge bummer because he got the extension already. Like, I don't understand. Like, they made him the head coach. He looked better last year and more. Like, I really don't understand. Really don't understand what he was doing. But yeah, it was pretty brutal. Like, I I told some people to bet Raiders second half. I watched the first half and I thought the Raiders looked like the better team and they like kind of made them like they should have been ahead by more, and I thought for sure they were going to win that game. And they really beat themselves. Um the worst thing the next worst thing I saw, I want to take Bryce Young and the Panthers, but I'm gonna not take that one because this other one's too close. The Bears somehow winning that game because Will Levis threw that pick six and then fucking kneeled and cried about it on the field is like one of the worst plays I've ever seen it's like unbelievable. So the Titans, so my lock of the week last week was the Titans plus 3.5 or Titans plus 4, and they absolutely are dominating the Bears. They go up 17-0, and the Bears gained less than 150 yards. Hey, remember we were just talking about the Falcons and Steelers? Guess how many yards the Falcons gained against the Steelers?
Ooh.
The Steelers beat the Falcons and they did not score a touchdown. Guess how many yards the Falcons gained?
Yeah, I would guess
More than the Bears.
Yeah.
Significantly more than the Bears.
I was gonna say right around the same as many about as many.
Nope, they gained 220. The Bears gained 140. So like it's way more than the Bears. Like, it's still a bad game, but like way more. So teams trailing by 2 or more scores at halftime who failed to score an offensive touchdown in the entire game, their record since 2000 was 2-306. 2-306. The Bears won the third game in 25 years where those were the circumstances. Down by 17, and then they didn't score an offensive touchdown. They blocked a punt and returned it to the house, and then Will Levis's crazy play like blew the game. The other one is if you're getting 4 points or more and you're leading by 17 points at any point in the game, those teams were 66-1 against the spread in the last 5 years. So now they're 66-2.
What was the other one? Yeah.
It's one of the worst. It's one of the worst beats that I like. It didn't feel while I was watching it. It kind of felt like everything was unraveling. I know we were watching it together and like texting, so it was like I kind of knew we weren't going to win it as everything was unraveling, and it just seemed like Levis was like crumbling, and so I didn't know that it was this bad, but it's really like one of the worst, like statistically, it's one of the worst beats that we've ever taken. It's like really, really brutal. Like it's unheard of to be up 17 in the second half and not cover four. Like that's unheard of.
Yeah, that one hurt really bad. That was a really hard one to watch.
Yeah.
It really was. That
Yeah.
was one of the worst beats I can remember in a long time.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the numbers literally say it was like one of the worst beats in the last 25 years. Yeah, like it's one of
Yeah.
the worst. Like losing with Titans +4 with as a 17-0 lead, and then the if the entire second half the Titans just punted the ball back to the Bears on first down, they would have covered four.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like literally, Caleb Williams couldn't do anything the whole game.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just yeah. Oy, oy, oy. All right. What
Um,
else? What else you got for the worst?
um, I mean, the Panthers are on my list. I don't
Yeah,
even really want to talk about them because
yeah. Well, I mean, it's worth.
they're
I'm
yeah,
gonna.
I'll leave you. I'll let you talk about them. I'm
Well,
going to
I'm
talk
just
about
gonna. Dude, I'm just remember leading up to the season, we made a prop bet where I took Panthers to have the worst record in the league, and
yeah,
we gotta put it up on the board because I'm pretty
yeah.
sure that one's gonna smack.
It might. You might have me on that one. You have Panthers against Bills,
Dude,
but I also
we still don't think the Saints are good. Like, what the
I
fuck,
know,
bro? They lost by 40 to the Saints.
I know that's trouble. We also I have action though with you with the New York Giants because it might be the New York Giants and the Panthers.
Yeah, they suck too.
Um, they are a mess, dude. Daniel Jones, another pick six from his own 10-yard line.
Yeah.
Uh,
The Giants fans stayed. They watched the whole bloodbath. They stayed in the stadium to watch them get crushed, and then they went and waited out back to yell at him and heckle him when he walked
and
to his
boo him and
car.
heckle him when he walked to his car. I know, I saw it. Dude, that team is done. That team's done for the
Yeah,
season. Them and the Panthers, their seasons are over after week one, and they're going to
I've
be
got a
like the two worst teams in the league.
I've got a fun New York Giants prediction.
Okay.
Because they're all getting fired. Like Saquon had fucking 100 touchdowns in on national
Yeah.
TV. Like Dayball, like they had the Hard Knocks like front office gig where the GM was asking his 6-year-old who he should draft. Like, dude, they're all getting fired.
Yep.
They're gone. You know, I think it's I think it's Bill Belichick time.
Bill Belichick time in New York. I was thinking the
Yeah,
same thing.
yeah. Like, hey, oh, you need a new GM and a new coach.
Yeah.
I think I know the guy. I know the
Yeah.
guy for the
I
job.
wonder I wonder if they would like sign a new quarterback. I mean, I doubt he's going to want to develop a rookie quarterback, but maybe he would. Maybe he would just take a rookie and that's his style. But
Well,
he,
Maybe Brady didn't sound very good in the booth.
ah,
Just the 50-year-old Brady and
50-year-old
80-year-old
Brady.
Belichick.
That would
That'd
be
be fucking
funny. That'd be
that'd be
great.
pretty incredible. Um, and so the only hope I have, I've I really, really would love to snap the Panthers' worst team in the league bet, but I will happily lose that bet if the Cleveland Browns could be the worst team in the league. That'd be the best
Dude, I
possible thing.
know.
The only thing is, I actually think that they'll bench Watson in the next. They can't do it yet because it's guaranteed. Do you know what his dead cap hit is next season?
Dude, probably like more than Dak. Like
hundred and
eight.
twenty million dollars.
I thought it was gonna say like 85 million because
Dude,
I knew it
his
went up.
dead cap hit next season is $120 million. They're fucked. Like they're so fucked.
Yeah.
Like we may have to
Yeah.
cut this, but they're more hosed They're more screwed than a
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're leaving that out. But yeah, they're
bro. They're fucked.
yeah, Browns are
They're
in big, big trouble for a long time
they're fucked. So I would love the Panthers to win 4 or 5 games and the Browns to have the worst record in the league.
to win like three.
Yeah, Daniel Jones. But I don't think it's that likely because I think Watson will get benched and Jameis Winston will like win a couple games for them. I really think so.
I don't see like if they're that bad if Watson's that bad and Winston comes in too, like, are they going to beat anyone in the division once? Are they going to beat the Ravens once?
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
Who are they going to
they'll.
beat?
Well, I mean, dude,
What?
they played teams in the division tough last year, and they had really bad core. I mean, dude, didn't like Dorian Thompson Robinson win a game for them at home? Like I
They
don't
did
know.
beat the Niners at home last year.
Did you see the clip of the O lineman like not letting Watson help him up?
No.
Oh, dude, yeah, I think they hate it. I'm telling you,
Dude, how could you not? How could you not dislike
they
him?
can only get better by benching him. So
Yeah.
that's like if you're a Browns fan, you want him. I would like send him home. I
They're
would
better. I
tell
was gonna
him
say they're better off cutting him, eating the money, and getting him out of there.
it's crazy. I would just
Because he's
yeah. I
how
would
can you
tell
have him if you bench him? You can't even have him in the room. He's taking next year half of the team's salary, and he's just going to be in there like doing nothing. You just cut him. You have to cut him. Like everyone's going to
yeah.
be so pissed off. How could you
Yeah.
want to be on the team? How could
It's
you want
like
to be Myles Garrett and stay on the? He's going to demand out. He's gonna.
it's remember in Horrible Bosses, the Colin Farrell character who's like dad owned the company and he's like the worst and he just like ruins the
Yeah,
whole company vibe. That's what Deshaun Watson is making 120
yeah.
million in dead cap. All right, and then the only other one, the worst thing I saw this weekend was the Miami-Dade Police Department. It's like, dude,
Yeah, that
what
was on
in
my
the
list.
was he really? Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude, what are these guys doing, dude? They're the worst. It's what are you guys doing? Like why do you think like it's just so insane that the police culture in this country is like that. It's just such a bummer. It's really, really a bummer.
yeah.
Um,
It is a bummer.
all right, let's look ahead. Let's do a draft of the best things we saw this weekend.
All right, the best things. My biggest takeaways from week one. Number one to me was the two teams from the Super Bowl last year, the Chiefs and the Niners, are still the best two teams.
That was a good one.
The Chiefs draft so well. I think that Xavier Worthy is just immediately a star. Just draft, plug him into the offense, fastest guy on the field, immediate star. Great draft pick. He's going to open up the field for the Chiefs offense. They're going to be completely different than last year. They're way better last year if they have him playing every game this year. They also have two tight ends now. Noah Gray had however many catches. He was just wide open all game long. And then Rice and Kelsey didn't even really do anything, and they played so well. And then Spags can just plug and play all these new draft picks into the defense, and they're just immediately good. Really impressed with the Chiefs. And then I kind of really thought there was going to be a Super Bowl hangover from the Niners losing that Super Bowl, and they came out and just beat the doors off the Jets. They stopped the run. They ran it right down their throats without CMAC. None of the offseason stuff seemed to bother them at all. The IU holdout, the Trent Williams holdout, CMAC not practicing or playing in the game, and they just came out and looked phenomenal. So I think those two teams are still the two teams to beat.
As long as they have Purdy on that cheap ass contract, the team they're just stacked. And Yeah, we predicted like the Chiefs are going to be ridiculous. They also they drafted that left tackle in like the sec. They drafted like a stud left tackle in the second round too. Best thing I saw this weekend, number one pick is TJ. I'm pretty sure TJ Watt's the best player in the NFL. You'd obviously take Mahomes over him, but I'm pretty sure TJ Watt is, bro, he's unbelievable. At he just completely dominated. Uh, and then two things I kind of noticed too, unrelated, were both Rogers and Cousins. They like do not look super healthy. They're like they both move around like they don't want to plant super hard on their back foot. Um, but Watt just completely destroyed the Falcons. That defense is going to be sick. Matt Stafford looked amazing. Uh, he almost single like what looked like almost single-handedly beat the Lions. Stafford was awesome.
Yeah, those were both on my list, on my draft
Yeah.
list.
Yeah.
TJ Watt and Matthew Stafford. Those are both on my list. I agree. I like things I was going to say about the Steelers is they're just the same old Steelers. Like they're going to have the best defense. They're going to have Mike Tomlin. He's never had a losing record in his entire career. So with this defense, I think it's as good as I've seen. Maybe going back to like the Palomalu days, that defense was amazing. In on the road, week one, uh, I think Fields and Wilson are both an upgrade from Kenny Pickett. So there's no reason that they don't. Why would Tomlin have a losing record with this team for the first time ever? I don't think he will. So I think they're
No.
going to win nine. They're going to win at least 9 games and actually be in the playoff hunt. And neither of us really, we weren't. This was the one team where we weren't sure what was going to happen. Like out of all
Yeah.
of the teams, it was like we knew the defense is going to be good, but how good? And then how much of a disaster are Wilson and Fields going to be, or are they going to be okay? And they looked okay running the ball. He still just doesn't look right throwing it,
Yeah.
but the defense looks better than expected. And
Did you see his throw chart? He didn't throw a single pass over the middle of the field. They just had him throwing like screens and running. I thought
yeah,
they coached a really good game. I mean, I texted you at halftime of that game and said this like there's no way the Falcons can score on this team.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I watched that. I watched every play of that first half, and hey, there's no way that they're going to get scored on. And they're on the road. That defense is going
yeah,
to be insane, like really,
yeah.
really insane.
They have one of the best home fields in football, in sports, in Pittsburgh. Cold
Yeah,
weather games. Like, who's going to want to go into Pittsburgh against that defense? Nobody. That
yeah.
they're going
I
to be really
also,
good.
I also think, yeah, we were right. We were right about. I mean, we were right about both those teams. I think we thought the Steelers defense was going to be awesome, and the Falcons are not any good. Their O line's not good. They're just not any good. I can't believe that they were juiced up to win that division. It's really insane.
Yeah. The other one you picked, Stafford. He looked like the second best player in football, and he looked like the best quarterback in the NFC. It was just like I was watching that game with my like jaw dropped. Like he
Yeah,
was
he's
just
pretty sick.
slinging no look passes all over the field. He threw like 5 of them just
Yeah,
on the money to Cooper Cup to everybody. He was without his tight end. Then Puka Nakua goes down, and there's just who are these guys on the field? And he's just hitting all of them for a wide open. I don't, dude. He was just throwing them open. Amazing. The O line was all banged up. I actually thought the O line did pretty well considering how amazing the Lions pass rush is. But it clearly was all on Stafford. He there. I think this is a wild card team. I think they're going to make the playoffs for sure. Um, that's going to be one of the toughest games they play all year on the road in Detroit. Uh, and they really should have won the game. So yeah, I like that one a lot.
yeah.
Um,
I think both of those teams are good. It's
for sure, those teams are
yeah,
great. Both those teams are great.
yeah,
And it's to me that was a game where Sean McVay's coaching really shined. He prepared for that game so well. They just came out and threw the ball like every single play.
yeah,
They threw it like 15 of the first 16 plays. And yeah, you give them 3 months to to prep for a game. That guy is amazing, and he just had a great game plan against the Lions. Yeah, they're going to be
I
really.
do wonder. I do wonder if the Rams are, if the Rams like really, if the Rams kind of overperform against the Lions. It's just like McVay has the Goff history and kind of knows how to coach against him, and Stafford has the Lions history. I'd be interested to see how good the Rams actually are. I think some of the stats that came back from this week was that their O-line was really bad in that game, but
Yeah.
it's possible. I mean, they were injured, and Aiden Hutchinson like kind of a game wrecker, so it's possible. Some of those, we'll see as the season goes, but some of those stats are interesting because they give you a look at like, okay, this O line's bad or they performed bad, but that also just means that the D line that they faced performed really good. So we'll see.
Well, also, I think what we're saying is if Stafford is this good, Stafford was the reason the Rams were so good because he was under pressure all game. The coverage wasn't bad, and he was just throwing like the most amazing balls all game long into the tightest
Yeah.
windows and just on the money all night long. And if he does that all season, then they're going to be really good. My second pick, I'm going to go with a team that I was down on coming into the season, and after one game, I'm just flipped. That's the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
And it's
They're
because
good.
Lamar Jackson is so good.
Yeah, he's good.
He is so good. We're playing with a new offensive line. That was my biggest take. The offensive line was a disaster. That was kind of my thought. Like they're two offensive linemen. They're blocking for Lamar Jackson.
Well, they were a disaster in the first half. They were pretty good in the second half.
Well, Lamar was amazing the whole game.
Yeah.
And he just looks faster. He doesn't look as big. He's that was another game like him. Lamar and Stafford were the two that I watched this weekend or the week, and where I just couldn't really like just play after play after play. I was just dude, like again. This guy's amazing. He's amazing. He's making every play. And yeah, they almost beat the Chiefs in Kansas City.
I mean, they should have beat the Chiefs. Yeah. I mean, he's gonna get some shit for like those last couple throws that he missed, but I think it's insane to criticize him after that game. He was one of the 3 or 4 best players on the field in any game this whole weekend. Like seriously, he was better than Mahomes in that game.
For sure. He also I went back and watched that throw to Flowers. I don't think that was his fault. I think that was Flowers should have he threw the ball to the soft spot of the defense. He threw it right where he should throw it.
Yeah.
And Flowers just kept going instead of sitting down right in the soft spot. And that's something that if you iron out a few kinks in the Ravens, if they make a couple extra plays, if Mark Andrews doesn't slip and gets that first down on that one play, that touchdown pass to Flowers, the last play of the game, if the offensive line, once they shore that up and figure it out, like they're gonna be the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, they're right good. There. They're right there. Yeah. I mean, I don't think Lamar's ever gonna be like Brady in the pocket, but he's so good at others. Like he kept them in that game. I actually thought the O-line got better as the game went on too. When Mahomes got that ball deflected at the end, we obviously had Chiefs -3 in that game. And when Mahomes got that ball deflected at the end and they were kicking it back to the Ravens, I was not stoked. I thought for sure Lamar was going to win that game for them. So
yeah. All right. My number 3 is Joe Alt. The Chargers got a good one in Joe Alt because I watched that game every snap, and he did as good of a job as I've ever seen anybody do on Max Crosby. He neutralized him. I mean, he didn't completely shut him down because he's Max Crosby, but he's a rookie. And in his first start ever, you get Max Crosby, and he really took Max out of the game for a lot of plays. And the Chargers got a really good one in him. I think Harbaugh has a plan, and he nailed his first draft pick. Joe Alt, uh, protect the quarterback, run the ball, and Joe Alt is exactly that. And the Chargers are they're building something. I think Harbaugh is going to be the guy who turns it around, and Joe Alt is the first piece. They got a good one.
Yeah, mine next on my list was Harbaugh. That I watched every play of that game too, and it's just very obvious. Like, oh, they're like totally different. They made no mistakes. They stuck to their game plan. I mean, the Raiders, it was 7-6, right? At halftime. Raiders were up
Yeah,
7-6, and the Chargers couldn't do anything. And the Raiders looked like the way better team in the first half, like more talented, and and Harbaugh just knew like let them beat themselves, and they just ran the ball and ran the ball, and the Raiders beat themselves, and then they kept the defense on the field, and then they just cruised like that. That game finished 22-10, and I actually think the Raiders have like significantly more talent on both sides of the ball. And Harbaugh, yeah, he's just a really, really good coach. They're ready to go. Um, have the Cowboys defense and Baker Mayfield as my last two. Cowboys defense was sick, and they drafted some kid. They were talking about it during the broadcast, but like just briefly, but they drafted some kid in the fifth round who's playing corner, and he's wearing 21 because they were talking about Zeke switched to 15, and this kid Kalen Carson's wearing 21, which is Deion Sanders' number, and I'm pretty sure he's like I'm pretty sure he's really sick. Like I'm pretty sure he's gonna like make like I'm pretty sure he's gonna make a bunch of plays. He like really stood out on the TV is a rookie corner who was drafted in the fifth round, and I was like, dude, who is that guy? He's fucking everywhere. Um, and then Baker Mayfield, I'm just like could not be any more excited that everything possible is going wrong for the Browns. It's just the best. It's just the best. The Browns got smacked and just completely drubbed by the Cowboys defense. Deshaun Watson sucks. He has another criminal proceeding like leaked during the game from a Jane Doe, and Baker Mayfield threw for 4 touchdowns and balled out. Just the best. Just awesome. Just I couldn't I can't want more bad things to happen to the Browns anymore. Just like just awesome. Just the best. My biggest preseason take is the Browns suck and they're gonna be the worst team in the league. So watching them just get fucking demolished at home and their quarterback that they gave away throw for 4 touchdowns and the quarterback that they've made the highest paid player in NFL history just stink. Like Jameis Winston's gonna be starting at quarterback in like 3 weeks for them. Like it's a wrap. Like it's a wrap. His career's over. This guy's a dumpster fire.
yeah.
It's really like, and it couldn't happen. It could not happen to a better team. It's the best. I hate the Browns.
Couldn't happen to a better bad team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you've really been on the Browns. You've nailed that one. I think that was what you wanted to see. As far as Baker goes, Baker looked amazing. They couldn't
Yeah.
tackle him. He was scrambling around. He looked faster. He looked stronger. And then he was just making good throws, making smart decisions. 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Um, he seems to always play a lot better at home. And I don't necessarily think that the Commanders defense is terrible. Um, so we'll have to see. I'm not sure on that, but I think he just played really well. He made some amazing throws, and yeah, that was on my list too. Baker
Yeah, I
Mayfield.
mean, we bet them. I bet the Bucks last year in Philly in the playoffs, and then I bet them again in Detroit.
Right.
So, uh, I don't know why.
Yeah, that was brutal, right? They lost by 8.
Yeah, and they were plus
Yeah.
7.5 in that game, or plus 7
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah. I mean, but they had the ball at the end of the game,
Yeah.
like so it was
Yeah.
alive. They're
Yeah.
yeah,
Baker
they're
played
solid.
great last year, and it's carrying over. You can see it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, the I had I also have the Texans offense on my list.
Hmm.
Um, Mainly because the two big guys they brought in, Joe Mixon and Stephon Diggs, both contributed and looked
Yeah,
really good. Joe Mixon carried the ball 30 times
yeah. Mixon. Yeah,
um,
it looked like the Bengals were
for
missing.
150 plus yards,
Yeah,
touchdown. And then Diggs had 6 catches, 6 for 6, 2 touchdowns. Pretty spicy. That team's going to be good. They're going to score a lot of points. And Richardson kind of kept them in the game. He kind of kept the Colts in the game. I was impressed with some of his throws, but then he also made just like that one deep ball, and then his feet.
yeah,
He had a running touchdown, and then he threw that deep ball touchdown. Um, I think he was like 10 for 20 throwing though. He didn't have like a great game, but but he made a couple plays. And I think he's going to have games where he doesn't make those big plays, and they're just going to get throttled. Like if he doesn't throw that ball 65 yards for a touchdown, um, yeah, I don't know. I think he had a decent game, but I think the Colts are in trouble with Richardson. I just don't
I
see it
think
with
he'll
him.
be I think he'll be a really easy fade against like a really good defensive coach. Like if you
Yeah,
can make him look
absolutely.
bad, if you can make him look bad and contain him, you can probably beat the Colts. But I don't know, man. Their coach, they're I mean, dude, if the Texans are really good, like we think they probably are, then they hung right there with them. But again, I mean, dude, we going into that game, like home dogs in the division getting
Week
points.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just yeah, like it's just a
yeah.
good spot. Like
So we
no
got
matter what the teams are.
that one
All
was
right.
sweaty. I was sweating that one the whole time. Like this is gonna be close, and yeah, it landed on 2, and we had 2.5.
Yeah.
And then the last one, just really quick, um, is just coaches. Like the better coach, if you go down the list and look at every game, who has a better coach? The better coaches just dominated week one, and you could see it just having extra time to plan. And every game where there was a coach you'd consider really good going up against a coach who you either don't like or just isn't, you're not sure about, the better coach just out coaches the other. And that's a good point for everybody to remember, I think. Week one, especially.
Yeah. Yeah. And then on the Colts 2.5 thing, I think we should talk about that. Like we think like 2.5 is the new 3. For whatever reason, these games seem to be finishing by 1 and 2 points all over the place the last 2 years. So 3 years ago, I would have never ever paid minus 110 for 2 points or 1 point ever, or 2 points or 1.5. And now it's like 2 and 2.5. I'd rather have 2.5 than money line. Like always, 2.5 is the new 3, I think. So we're taking those 2.5 points.
Yeah, we've talked about
Uh,
it a little bit with how often teams are going for 2, and just that it's not like 7 or 3. Like a lot of times when teams are either scoring 7 or 3 points, the 2.5 doesn't matter as much. But there's so much more 6 and 8 with the 2 point conversions, and yeah, it just changes the scores change quite a bit.